Hello, and welcome to Speaking About Speaking with me, Jackie Goddard. And today it's a little bit different because I've been at a circus all day. I've been at the Digital Circus Live with the lovely guys from Yellow Tuxedo, Alan and Emily Braithwaite, who have put on this fabulous what should I call it? This kind of conference online with some fantastic speakers, and hopefully you will meet at least a couple today. But I have certainly somebody waiting in the wings to pop on and discuss what's been happening today. And somebody else has arrived. So without any further ado, if that's the way that you say it, I'm going to bring on the tour guide to your mind, Vanda Varga. Hello, Vanda.
Hello.
How are you? I mean, it's been ages since we've spoken. What it must be like at least 25 minutes since we had a conversation.
Yes, I was thinking about it, 26 maybe. So yes, ages and ages. No, I'm very good. Thank you very much. I don't know if you can see. I probably can't see, but I can feel these muscles getting a bit tired because I've been smiling all day. It's been so much fun in the circus, really.
It's been a little bit like that too. And we've both run workshops today for the circus. And I'm about to bring on a third person. Now, this is not something I've ever done before. So we're about to see what happens is to bring on a third person to the screen, because I've only ever spoken to one other person. So I'm really a little bit.
Let's go for it.
So I've clicked. It's Steve.
It all work. The technology works.
Technology works. Thank you, Steen Stones. I have you down, Steen, as A1 and Web3 guru.
Web3, sorry, let me just change my camera there. Web3 guru. Don't know if I quite got that, but I will. I'll take it for the moment.
Fabulous. Oh, well, thank you for being here. You also, Vanda and I ran workshops. Oh, you did a workshop too, didn't you?
As well, yes.
Yeah. But you were also a keynote and frightening the pants off everybody, telling them how AI is going to come and take over the world.
And hopefully inspiring as well to try the technology.
Yes.
Before the robots take over.
Yes, before the robots take over. I mean, just to say, if there is anybody out there watching, listening, if you are watching or listening to the replay, then please do ask us questions, get in touch. It's great to hear from anybody out there that's interested in speaking about speaking, which really is why we are here today. Obviously, the three of us have been speaking at the Digital Circus and kind of putting across our knowledge and our experience for the benefit of the audience. So perhaps Vanda, let's start with you. What made you put yourself forward to speak as a workshop host today, and obviously on other occasions when you do this quite regularly?
Yes, I do this quite regularly, and this is actually a very interesting question. The reason for this particular workshop is last year's workshop, because I did one for the Digital Circus Live last year as well, and I learned so much about it, about how the platform hopping works, about how the format of Digital Circus is, the Digital Circus Live is, and also about myself and how I am in that environment. I just thought that I really wanted to come on again and see how I can improve everything that I've done last year. Hopefully I did that. And in the same time, just impart some knowledge, some encouragement, some confidence building to all those people who were interested.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you feel that this year you upped your game? I mean, I can't imagine there was any further to go, Vanda, but
that's very sweet of you, Jackie, but there always is. I'm quite realistic when it comes to myself. I've got my amazing NLP techniques, which you are yet to learn in a few weeks' time. And yes, I'm quite realistic about what I've done right and what could have gone better. Yeah. So hopefully I have improved a few things. And if not everything, there is always next year.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll keep coming back till we get it right. I have to say, I found that a little bit today. That the half an hour, 30 minutes that you have go so fast.
Oh God!
That by the time you get to the end, you think, "Oh my God, did I remember everything? Did I do everything? Have I? I didn't even look at the comments in mine." So Steen, how was it for you? I mean, firstly, you did the 20-minute keynote spot as well as a workshop. What was the difference between the two for you?
I guess because it's a 20-minute keynote, it had to be a lot more planned. I had to kind of work out. It was practiced, and it had a very set structure to it, sort of things. I knew I wanted to kind of hit that 20-minute mark and not, I guess, I could ramble or go off in a tangent in any sort of direction, sort of thing. Whereas the workshop, obviously, with Get Set, I do workshops all the time, so I'm quite happy. I quite like the interaction, like, let's jump on a comment here, let's have a question here, sort of thing. I quite enjoy that. However, the 30 minutes was a challenge, I will be honest, to try and get all the information in, answer the comments, ask for examples, and that it just it went past in a moment.
Yeah, it does. It goes past in a flash, doesn't it? You sort of spend all this time preparing it and thinking, oh, what can I, and then suddenly it's gone. It's moved on. Yeah. Next.
I think this was one of the things that I learned last year is that I felt that I was trying to cram too many things into the 30 minutes. I don't know how you two felt as well. And it felt rushed. It felt rushed to me. I don't know how the audience, well, the feedback was that it was good. They took some value out of it. But for me, it all felt rushed. So the main takeaway from last year was that less is more. Yeah. And when it comes to public speaking, when it comes to workshops, when it comes to speaking in general, sometimes less is more, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. And that's something that I don't always take my own advice, but certainly when I'm speaking to people and putting talks together with them, I always say that less is more. And it's always about starting conversations. So in that 20 minutes that you have, it's not about telling everybody everything. It's about telling them enough that they get excited and they want to know more. So that's really what it's all about. So how was that? Did you find the same, Steen?
Absolutely. I think it's true for content in general, regardless whether it's written, it's audio, it's visual, whatever it is. It's always write down whatever first you're going to say and then cut it back by 80% probably to get to what's that core nugget of information that you're looking
edit and edit and edit again.
Yes,
right. I want a drum roll, please, because I'm about to bring on the ringmaster. So please welcome to the stage the Digital Circus ringmaster, Alan Braithwaite.
No pressure then. No pressure. Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me, Jackie. And look, this is unbelievable, isn't it? This is my head can't quite compute that. On one tab, we're hosting, facilitating, whatever, a global virtual conference. And on the next tab along, the four of us are now live streaming to your audience, Jackie. And my brain can't actually do it's like Ricky's magic trick this morning at the Digital Circus Live, if anyone saw it. My brain can't compute this. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, it just, to begin with, and I think we had this conversation earlier on, I was thinking, well, I couldn't possibly do my live on the same day as Digital Circus, not because I thought it would clash, but just I just didn't want to miss any of the Digital Circus. But actually, I think I was talking to Kirsty Clousley, and she was saying, well, why don't you, bring people on and make it about the Digital Circus Live? And that just seemed like a gorgeous idea, just a really, really nice way of talking to people about the experience they've had and talking to the speakers about how they've spoken, how their speaking has gone for the day and how it's worked out. So for you, Alan, because I know Emily hosted a session this afternoon. How was that for Emily, and how are your speaking, because you're a bit of a duo, aren't you, when it comes to speaking as well?
Yeah, so Emily was really nervous, right? We actually wanted to fill that spot with someone to talk about short form content. And it didn't happen. We asked a few people. It just didn't quite happen for various reasons. Sorry, can we just say you've got a comment from Tenerife? It's amazing, isn't it? Right? It's amazing. So Emily was actually a bit nervous, not because she didn't know the topic or anything else, but actually Emily gets a bit nervous public speaking. That's why she was at yours today, Jackie, to get some tips from your session. But what we do find when we go one-on-one rather than the duo is we actually get a bit more serious, or I get a bit more serious, and I'm less Emily's usually in the double act. Emily's the straight man, and I'm the Eric Morecambe to her Ernie Wise, if you're old enough. Sorry, everyone. But that's the kind of most kind of straight man act I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, no, is that answer the question? I sidetracked by Tenerife in the comments.
Yes. Yeah. No, that was my sister. My sister's jetted off to Tenerife. She's just showing off, basically. She's just kind of going, oh, so you're there in your kitchen. I'm here in Tenerife. But no, I mean, it's been great. It's been great today. So let me ask all of you then quickly, what makes a good speaker good and a bad speaker suck? And I'm going to start with you, Alan, because I know you might have to disappear quite quickly. So what makes a good speaker good and a bad speaker suck?
Okay, I think it's about the audience. I think it's about understanding the audience. I think realistically, it doesn't matter if you're scripted, it doesn't matter X, Y, Z, but if you aren't understanding the audience, what they want, how they're acting, and this isn't about reacting directly to a comment popping out. This is just about being part of that audience, and which is really tricky because if you're doing a paid speaking gig, I've not done a proper paid speaking gig in front of people. I've not done that, but I imagine that's really tricky because you need to be able to work out what's going on with that audience in a nanosecond, and virtually that's even more tricky. But for me, I think it's understanding the audience, connecting with the audience, being with the audience. I think that's where the kind of magic happens, in my opinion. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. That was part of my presentation today. Is it's about the audience. It's not about you. It's about what you bring to them, and especially if you're being paid. If you're being paid, then I would say ultimately the audience is paying to be there. So there is that added layer of making sure that you give value and you understand why they're there, or why they should care. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Steen, how about you? Good speaker, good. Bad speaker, suck.
Suck. I mean, I don't know if I'll go as far as suck, but I think that the things that make it really sort of stand out is an element of what Vanda sort of said about sort of practice and understanding sort of thing, but also understanding your own strengths. So really kind of, yes, absolutely fine. There are some speakers out there who can wing it on a dime, no problems at all, and they can smash out the amazing talk. Most of us aren't like that, I'd say, and most of us need to probably be practice either the actual talk or we need to practice speaking. I used to go. I've done NLP, sort of for Vanda sort of side. I've done Toastmasters as well to kind of help my speaking and things like that. And I think those are the elements. Kind of once you understand yourself, your own strengths, your own weaknesses, and sort of leaning into things and developing yourself where you can, has a big impact on those talks that are kind of really sort of knock it out of the arena for it.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree wholeheartedly with that. Get help, please get help from a speaker coach if you can.
Do you know any, Jackie? Do you know any, Jackie?
Not any good ones.
Just the best.
Only great ones.
Only the great ones.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Steen. And Vanda.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with Alan and Steen. Absolutely. And this is exactly what I was talking about in my workshop. So the workshop was confident to connect. And while we were talking about one-to-one connections or connecting with a group of people when it comes to networking, I believe it's exactly the same when you are public speaking, isn't it? So we were talking about 3 elements of it. We were talking about your intention. What is your outcome for whatever you are doing? Your attention. Is it going to be on you and putting pressure on yourself, or are you going to bring the attention to your audience, to the person or people that you are connecting with? And then your actions. Your actions, are you prepared? Are you ready for whatever comes? Are you in the physiology and in the psychology of excellence and confidence? Are you ready to connect? And then are you actually taking those actions? So I think preparation makes a great speaker, but preparation is in not over preparing, like writing everything down line by line, because you get lost in that in many cases. It's about being mentally and physically prepared to be present, to be there with your audience, to be ready to connect with them one way or another, so that observation, whatever is happening in the audience, whether it's virtual or in the room, you are able to get into the audience and you're not just asking them to come with you. So it's a bit of playfulness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just being there, being
Yes,
present.
being present. I love that, Vanda. I love that. I think that's absolutely spot on. Is that you need to be there in the moment, and that's the same. From an acting point of view, you have to be in that moment. You have to be there. Otherwise, it doesn't translate.
Yeah, there must be like, I know, and I don't want to be rude, but there must be 1,000 public speakers, 1,000, obviously arbitrary number, who stand up there and just deliver kind of grey, kind of monitor, whatever, and that connection doesn't there. And they may have rehearsed and everything, and whether they've got bored, complacent, or it's just not there, it doesn't really matter. But it's not going to connect. It's not going to land as you want it to land. Yeah, you've got to have the three things that Vanda talked about when confidence to connect. I could only remember two, Vanda. Sorry.
That's fine.
Power pose. I remember that.
Yeah, power pose, all of those. I'm very, very excited because we have a fifth person that's going to join us. Now, I don't know how that's going to work on this screen, but I'm going to bring to the screen another workshop host from today, Louise Miller. Yay. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Lou. That's brilliant. Cool. Fabulous. We were just talking about obviously speaking and how today has been with the keynotes and the workshops and what makes a good speaker good and a bad speaker suck. So what's your take on the day, and how did you come to be speaking about what it is that you do?
I'm going to answer your first question with what's my take on the day. Well, the day has been amazing, and I think one of the takeaways, one of the things I would like to share is about self-awareness, which has been a theme that's gone on all throughout the day, which is I know myself well enough to have tried to wangle myself a morning speaking slot today, because I knew that if I was doing it any time after about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you wouldn't get any sense out of me. So I'm sharing that now as a caveat in case I don't actually manage to string sentences together, because it's been so much fun and I'm a massive introvert. So being around people all day, and I have been here present since 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning, it can be very draining. So I think that's actually a tip in itself. Know yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
In terms of all of that. But yes.
Yeah.
What was the second question?
The second question is, well, let's skip, because I'd like to know then, as an introvert, as somebody that is a self-confessed introvert, why are you speaking? Why are you putting yourself through this, basically?
Yeah, and if you'd have asked me a few years ago if I would be doing this, I would have laughed. So basically, I was given the opportunity by someone that I trust very, very dearly several years ago, 2019, I think it was, when I was a few years into my business, she had somebody pull out at the last minute at an in-person networking event in London. And she said, will you come and do it? And I kind of went, have you met me? But she gave me the encouragement that I needed. And because she believed in me, that really helped me to believe in myself. So I did the work, prepped the thing. I only had about a week, which I think was a good thing because it meant I couldn't obsess over it. Showed up and I absolutely blooming loved it. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed the experience. And this was in person, which, having been behind a screen now for a few years, does terrify me again slightly now, but I know I can do it because I did it then and I loved it. But from then I had such amazing feedback in terms of what I'd shared and how I came across. Because I think as an introvert, my energy is quite calm and quite grounded and quite anchoring. And I think that in itself can be quite appealing to people. So rather than feeling like I have to become this big, exuberant, arms flying around kind of crazy person, I know that I can just show up as myself, talking about the things that matter to me and that I think are important that people need to hear in my own way and that people will respond. So that's kind of how I've got here.
Yeah. Perfect.
I felt sorry. I'm gonna run off. But Louise, I felt myself coming down just then when you were talking. Honestly, it's unbelievable the power when I speak to you. Emily's like, can she have more of that? But even now, I was like, oh, I'm relaxing now. Louise is talking. I'm gonna come down. But I'm gonna go back to the other tab. Thank you so much, guys. And
thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Excellent. Oh, we've had another comment. Let's just where's it gone? This is LinkedIn usual, which usually turns out to be Christoph. So I might still hopefully be Christoph. It's back to that self-awareness thing again, being authentic and sharing your own way of connecting. And I think that's so right, isn't it? It's really, it doesn't matter how it's, and I said this in my presentation, and I think you covered it as well, Vanda, is that it's just about being you and not trying to be somebody that other people expect you to be, or the person that you think you should be. You know, it's about the having enough self-awareness to know that you are enough. And if people don't connect with you as you, then they're not the people you want to be connecting with. So yeah. Perfect. Oh, it's Danny Evergreen. Hi, Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, Danny. So yeah, so great. So tell me then a piece of advice. So have a think about, what is the best piece of advice you were ever given before stepping into a sort of a speaking role or putting yourself forward? Because Steen, you run workshops person to person. I've been to your workshops. So it's all, you know, it's that kind of teaching thing, isn't it? Of stepping in front of a class. Vanda, the NLP courses that you do, of which I am a student and enjoying every moment. Louise, I'm not sure if you do a similar thing, but what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given? I don't know who'd like to go first.
Yeah, if it's all right, I'll sort of go first on that one. Just I think from mine, sort of one of the earliest bits of advice I got, which was, because I still get nervous now, you know, before the speaking today and Yellow Tuxedo, the nerves will go in, sort of thing, and same in person and that. I just love it once I get started. And it was, someone said to turn the feeling of anxiety and the feeling of excitement are the same feelings, and just switching that and going, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited, then allows me to kind of come out and not kind of draw myself in onto that sort of feeling of anxiety, rather to then come out and sort of be who it is, and also to be, I'm sharing something here with the audience, and that and that's always made it a lot easier for me to kind of get over that initial stumbling block that I might have otherwise.
Yeah, no, that's something I learned early on, and something I now certainly use with the people that I'm coaching. It's exactly the same feeling, and you just have to kind of embrace it and swap that story in your head. And I know, Vanda, that's something you talk about too.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. So Vanda, what's the best piece of advice that you've been given?
I think, you know, as much as we talk about bringing the attention on the people in your audience and connecting with them, I think what is most important in all this is to understand that it all starts and finishes with you as the speaker, as the person who is there imparting that information. And if you are not right, your audience won't be right. So the first thing you need to do when it comes to being present is not just being present for your audience, but even before that, come back to here, come back to the here and now, get yourself sorted, get your emotional and physical state sorted, calm yourself down with some box breathing, for instance, what you brought up in your workshop. I always share that as well, Jackie, because it's absolutely wonderful. Or with some grounding exercises or whatever that will be. Help yourself to come back to the here and now. So your anxiety that Steve was talking about, which can be excitement as well, and nervousness, it won't take you away from the here, thinking about the past, thinking about the future. No, if you are in the past or if you are in the future, you're not being present with your audience. So you have to come back in here to the here and now inside you for a bit, so you're ready for whatever comes next.
Yeah, again, it comes back to being present. I think that's yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Vanda. Louise, anything from?
Yeah, I think for me, it's about letting go of any ideas of perfection. And, you know, I can be, if I allow myself to be, a really chronic over preparer, which I think is why it was so good that I was given so little time for that first one to actually prepare. But the thing, I find really helpful to remember is that your audience doesn't know what the lovely flow of your talk was going to be. So if something happens in the middle where someone's made a comment that you want to expand on, and that then means in the moment you have to maybe take something out, or you go off in a slightly different direction, the audience doesn't know that. What they're seeing is you being present, like you were saying, Vanda, being in the moment, and still coming across, hopefully, with that authenticity and with something that's valuable, even though it may not have been exactly what you had planned. So I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. It is that it's I always say memorize to improvise, but it's not necessarily about memorizing, but it's about just having practicing it enough that it's that muscle memory, so that if something does go wrong, or if you forget something or lose something, you kind of stay on track because it's there, it's part of you. Which is why my best advice is about finding those stories that are your own, that really relate to that audience that you're talking to, because you're never going to forget your own stories. You're never going to be called out or stumble over your words because you are telling your own story. So I think that's really important. And the fact that obviously the audience don't know what your story is, you could be making it up as you go along, which I also think it's called improvisation, and I recommend that highly. Fabulous. So tell us about the best bit of the day for you so far. So we'll head back to the Digital Circus live very soon. But what's been the best part of the day for you so far, Louise?
Oh God, all of the things. I think this might sound. I'm censoring myself now, feeling like I'm going to sound like I'm being really self-promotional, but I really just loved sharing my session this morning. I think that was my favorite thing, because it was me being in my flow, doing my thing. I had a lovely full room of people who seemed to be engaged with what I was saying, was giving me good feedback, comments, and I loved it. So, and I loved what everyone else was sharing as well, but I think I just really enjoy sharing what I'm doing. So yeah,
fabulous. Thank you, Steen.
Yeah, I mean, not to censor myself as well, being up there and giving the talk, and that I would say was a highlight for me, and seeing the conversation taking place in the comments, even though it was a bit distracting at times, but it was just really, I guess uplifting to know that's what I'm about. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help businesses understand and use this new technology that's available and not be scared of it. So to sort of see that's happening and taking place, I think is amazing. Just to have to do two things, which I know I'm not supposed to. You asked for one thing. First time in the Digital Circus, it's always nice when you join a community like this and you just feel that community go all the way through, from the very first round table where we were chatting around cuticles and smoothies and other bits and pieces, to Vanda's workshop, and then all the way to doing this. It's just when a community connects, it's just really nice to share that sort of thing throughout the day. So I think that's the other bit that's been equally as uplifting.
Yeah, I think that's what Emily and Alan said earlier about the fact that it wasn't about what they thought it was, about building network, building your business and digital visibility. It was actually about human connection and about community. So no, absolutely, that's what I love about it. Vanda.
Well, shall I join the other two? Yes, of course. I loved it. I love talking about my stuff, and I really love the comments afterwards that people felt that yes, I feel like I'm ready to rock the world and take on the world and whatnot. So yes, of course, that's really, really important. And for me, what I love about the Digital Circus in general, because this is my third time being there, is that it always flies by.
Yes.
Because it's just so amazing. I literally don't know how we got to 4:30. Is that that's where we are. And we started at 8:30 in the morning, and it flew by, and it was absolutely amazing. And I learned a lot. I feel like I'm still growing, just talking to you guys. I'm still learning, and all those connections that I've made, and I feel like I've nurtured just by being present with the workshop as well, and connecting with others and just commenting on things. So yeah, that community, I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And very, very last, because we're into our last minute, what would you say to other people that are thinking of speaking in events like this, or on stages, or just making content? What would your sort of one word advice be? 2 words.
Go to Jackie.
Talk to Jackie. 3 words.
3 words. If we get you 3, yeah. Talk to Jackie.
Yeah, I think the just say yes and figure it out later thing is always quite good as well, rather than talking yourself out of it. That was more
love that, Lou. Yeah, love that, Louise. Anything to add, Steen?
I mean, it's just as I sort of said, exactly the same as Louise there. Just do it. Don't overthink it. Maybe don't go in front and do a keynote the very first time. Break yourself in a little bit and do a network and event or something small where you get up, or something like your monthly speaking event. where you get a chance in a safe space to sort of talk in front of people.
Oh, thank you for that, Steen. Yes. Yeah. Next one is the 18th of April in Southbourne. If you're around, come along to a Speak Like a Speaker Club is what it is. So yeah, thank you for that plug, Steen. That was brilliant. Okay, well, we've done our 30 minutes. Thank you so much for being here. It has been an absolute pleasure. And I've loved having more than one person apart from myself on the screen, which is great. Apologies for anybody out there who's listening. I got a message from Tenerife saying we were cutting in and out, but I think that's Tenerife's fault because we've not really had any problems or issues here. But apologies if you had. If you're going to be watching the replay, still get in touch, add a comment, ask a question. We will obviously get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And we're heading back to the Digital Circus. So see you later.
Thanks very much, Jackie.
Later.
Bye.